Hello everybody, and welcome to Ancient Architects. Please subscribe to the channel for regular content on ancient architecture, as well as all of the latest news from the world of archaeology. Çemka Höyük is an archaeological site in southeastern Turkey, dating back to between 12,000 and 10,800 years ago. An important site that can help us to better understand the transition between the hunter-gatherer lifestyle and agriculture. It's located within the borders of Ilisu village in the Mardin province of southeastern Turkey, around 1,100 metres southwest of the Ilisu Dam on the Tigris River. According to past news reports, the dam roadworks severely damaged the ancient site in many places, but thankfully some fantastic archaeology remains. The ancient settlement is close to other famous pre-pottery Neolithic sites, and I've discussed many of them in the past, including Kortik Tepe, Halan Semi and Çemka Höyük. It's adjacent to Bonçoklu Tarla, a fantastic site that was active before and during the life of Göbekli Tepe. Back in 2008, architectural structures, skeletal remains, chipped stones and other artefacts were found, and this was from the surveys conducted by archaeologists. They pointed to Çemka Höyük dating back to the late Epi-Paleolithic and continuing through the pre-pottery Neolithic. The surveys revealed radial planned oval structures with stone walls and floors, and they were plastered with a light brown clay soil mixture. There were also some other structures, and these looked to be temporary shelters. These were made up of a mixture of soil and pebbles. They looked to date back to the late Epi-Paleolithic or the very start of the pre-pottery Neolithic A. They predated the oval stone enclosures. The finds from the site include flint and obsidian microblades, as well as blades, microlith tools, flake tools and so on. There were grinding stones made of basalt, and bone tools that were similar to ones found at Kortik Tepe in Çemka Höyük. This is a bone buckle that was discovered at the site. A whole skeleton belonging to a 2 or 3 year old child was also found in a fetal position, and it was discovered beneath the floor of a house. The body was buried facing east. More excavation work has taken place over the past few years, uncovering more fantastic finds and also even more human skeletons. This skeleton dates back to the 10th millennium BC. It's a female, and she's accompanied by animal skeletal remains, and that has led the experts to believe that this woman could be a shaman, or at the very least, she was buried by someone practicing certain ways that were associated with animism or shamanism. Experts believe the woman died of natural causes. She was 25 to 30 years old at her time of death, and was buried beneath the floor of a mud brick building. She was buried close to 14 other people, and they were also placed beneath buildings. It's not unusual to find burials beneath buildings in the Epi-Paleolithic and pre-pottery Neolithic A, but the grave of this woman was intriguing, because it was covered by a large limestone block. This is very rare for the period. But it's the fact she was buried with animal remains that leads people to believe she was a shaman, and her grave reminds me of an Natufian shaman's grave, and I discussed this in a recent video. I've linked it below in the description. In fact, both graves date back to a similar time, around 12,000 years ago. As stated, there were a number of animal bones in her grave, and these include the skull of an aurochs, a bone from a partridge, maybe the animal's wing, a canid bone, a leg from a marten, and one belonging to either a sheep or a goat. This burial could be one of the earliest known examples of its kind in a Neolithic context. As observed by the archaeologists, the animal bones were placed very specifically. The aurochs skull was placed above the woman's body, with its jaw separated and positioned at her feet. According to the authors of the study, quote, "Considering the fact that the female individual and the animal bones were deposited together in one burial, we may assume some symbolic relations between the animals and the hunter-gatherer fishers of Çemka Höyük, who had already embarked towards a sedentary life. It might be argued that the relationship was based on the early sedentary people's new perspectives towards the animal world surrounding their environment, in view of the species to tame, herd and manage." End quote. This burial took place before the domestication of farm animals, so the animals inside the grave must have been wild. The start of the pre-pottery Neolithic A was a time of real social and environmental change. The climate was warming, sedentary living was now commonplace, and people were beginning agricultural practices, but they still relied on hunting, fishing and gathering. Maybe these changes heighten the importance of the shaman, charismatic, spiritual people in tune with nature and unseen forces. The shamans may have also looked different, maybe having some kind of handicap or a visual marker that singled them out in the population. This was seen inside the grave of the Natufian shaman. Either way, it's believed that shamans held great importance in the Epi-Paleolithic, going into the pre-pottery Neolithic, and these could be the remains of one of them, a female shaman that was laid to rest in a fetal position beneath a dwelling around 12,000 years ago. Thank you very much for watching this news update from Ancient Architects. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, please like the video, and please leave a comment below. Thank you very much.